in addition to the petition, but that's why we proceeded with listing, was because of our concern over poaching rather than concern about how the HCP was doing.
Yeah, so there was a comment that made earlier that San Bruno Mountain Watch sued to get the Kalihi listed. That's not factual.
Not to my knowledge.
Right. I mean, the reason. I mean, one of the reasons we listed was in '91 because we received a petition to list it, and we had more information at that time. That was about the time of the poaching cases, and so that was the reason we listed.
So you used the term jeopardy ruling, or the species in jeopardy. So it wasn't listed because the species was in jeopardy, but because of the legal action, in a sense.
Well, we listed it because we were concerned that due to the amount of poaching that we learned about through this case, that could result in the extinction of the butterfly in the foreseeable future. But it was because of the poaching that we came to that conclusion.
And if that didn't happen, you wouldn't be here tonight, right?
That's correct.
Okay. So after it was listed in '97, then you approached Brookfield Homes? Is that how that happened? What was the, I guess, logistics of that?
Well, that's. I mean, I think it was at that time that, and I think Kay had mentioned this also, that we started looking, and we had gotten comments from the public also about, and the Center for Biological Diversity, and that when we started looking again at the project that we had already permitted, and based on the newer information that we had at that time, we thought, well, I think we can make the project have a smaller impact than what it had. And that was when we worked with Brookfield for so many years now, and they've been actually very easy to work with. It's not one of those developers who takes the stamp that, well, come get me, I'm going to do it whatever I want anyway. They've actually been quite easy to work with, and they've been willing to reduce the development down to what we have the proposal for today. Yeah, and setting aside Clippy Hill, the larger population of the Clippy on the Northeast Ridge is toward the east side of it on Clippy Hill, and so the western portion of it, where the eucalyptus grove is not the same quality or same type of habitat that's on the eastern side.
Another thing on Clippy Hill. Clippy silver spots have a behavior, it's called hilltopping, where the adult males hold territories on prominent geographic features, hilltops, ridges, and they hold territories that they will defend from other males, and then unmated females, virgin females, will fly up to these hilltops or ridges, and they mate, and then they go to where their food plants are and lay eggs. And so Clippy Hill was of concern to us because, that's on the Northeast Ridge, that's where males are. And so Brookfield, they did move that portion of their development off Clippy Hill.
Okay. And if they chose not to, because it wasn't a jeopardy ruling, is anything you can do about it?
Well, they moved their project off of Clippy Hill in as part of the amendment, so that when the application came to us for review, that was already off. There wasn't development proposed up there. Mm-hmm. If they had come in with the same project with development on that hilltop, by law, we can't prejudge any of our final actions, but it might have been different from what we concluded for this amendment.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, you would have pursued a more stringent stance?
I can't say because that wasn't a proposal that we were presented with. The proposal we were presented with was that Clippy Hill was not going to be developed.
Okay, so they chose to work with you then on
That's right.
saving the species?
That's right.
Okay. You made, or at least Kay Gooding, at the last meeting said that jeopardy rulings are very rare, that they don't happen, and you mentioned that earlier too.
That's right. When we receive either an application for a habitat conservation plan, a Section 10A1B permit it's called, or if there's a federal agency involved, we go through a Section 7 analysis and we prepare what's called a biological opinion. But if the action is going to, essentially, if we determine is going to result in the extinction of the species, the listed species, then the result is a jeopardy determination. And so for this project, the conclusion for the permit was non-jeopardy.
Okay. All right, thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor.
You have another question?
I do have two questions. if I
Okay.
may. And I'm sure you've talked about this, but I just want to make sure that I get refresher
Okay.
answered. Does the proposed project jeopardize the Calliope butterflies?
No, it doesn't. And in our internal Section 7 for this amendment, it was a non-jeopardy determination, not just for Calliope, but also for the Mission Blue butterfly, San Bruno elfin butterfly, San Francisco garter snake, which hasn't been seen on the mountain for at least 30 years, and also for the San Francisco lozenge, which is an endangered plant.
My next question. Is the current project a barrier to the Calliope flight?
No.
Do you want to expand?
Okay.